So first of all, I really appreciate the invite. I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you this morning. What you're doing in terms of building and operating renewable generation, it's really important. And at ESB Networks, we want to support you in that. The networks business, many of you will know our networks business, many of you will have interacted with it. Some things are paramount, some things are day in, day out important and critical, things like safety, resilience, efficiency, really important all day, every day. But our long-term vision, hopefully is something that, although Gary is looking for disagreement now on the panel, hopefully this is something that nobody will disagree with. Our long-term vision is to provide the platform for the transition to a low-carbon future through clean, secure and affordable electricity. And for us in ESB Networks, what that means is, firstly, connecting more renewable generation. Then with the grid, it means optimizing the performance of the whole network to keep electricity reliable and affordable. And finally, for us, it really means facilitating the electric customer so that clean electricity can be used to decarbonize transport, heat, and the rest of the economy. So none of that is particularly easy, and I dare say we'll get into some of the discussions about the detailed challenges of that later on. But it isn't easy, but it is really important, and for us it is really clear. And for us, what's really clear and important, crystal clear in fact, is that we want to work with EirGrid seamlessly, and with Commission for the Regulation of Utilities, and with you in the industry to make sure that decarbonisation through clean electricity is a reality. So then, looking at the three opportunities, I haven't compared notes with anybody else on the platform today, but my three opportunities are as follows. So firstly, it's about connecting more renewables. You already know this, I'm sure Mark touched on it this morning before coffee. We've about 4 gigawatts of renewables connected to the Irish system at the moment. And in 2018, 32% of electricity, all electricity generated was renewable. And that's incredible, because I was looking back, I've spoken at this conference before. It was back in 2012 when I was involved with renewables development. And I look back at, we've more than doubled the amount of renewable generation on the island since 2012. And that really is incredible. I'm not sure if it's exponential, but it's certainly an incredible growth of renewables. I think we all know that when we're looking forward to 2030, there is a potential for even more, for more microgeneration, more solar, more onshore wind. Somebody was giving me an estimate just before this session started of another 5 or 6 gigawatts of potential onshore wind in Ireland, and there's certainly potential for more offshore. Of course, the challenges in that, and we'll probably get to talk about that later on, there's a physical challenge in actually designing the system and connecting and physically connecting and building out renewables. I think there's still a societal challenge, and we were talking about that at the break. There's still a situation where there are lots of objections to a renewable build, and certainly lots of objections to the connections that are required to connect and reinforce for renewables. And clearly there's a technical challenge as well. And I think probably all of us in the room know that we don't know now how we're going to get there. We don't know what the system is going to look like in 10 or 12 years' time when we have an unprecedented level of renewables on the system. So we're going to have to work together with EirGrid. We're going to have to innovate. We're going to have to work with you, with service providers, with technical development, to try and make sure that that potential for more renewables turns into a reality. The second opportunity that I want to call out briefly is the electrification of heat and transport. And I think this is really critical, because electricity is a vector that allows us to decarbonize heat and transport through clean electricity. It's going to be really important, I think, for the wind industry, because charging electric vehicles and charging storage heaters and heating up water through immersions at times when the wind is blowing and when we have predominantly carbon-free electricity isn't just going to be about decarbonisation of that demand. It's also likely to be an important, small but important factor in our ability to cope with more renewable generation on the system. We look at the National Development Plan. National Development Plan is targeting about 500,000 new homes. That's an opportunity for 500,000 carbon neutral homes ready for heating and clean heating through powered by electricity. Given the number of homes that we need to build in Ireland, it is a real opportunity between now and 30 to make a significant difference, not just with the new housing stock we build, but then it's an opportunity as employment patterns change with the digital economy. It's also an opportunity in the retrofit of our existing housing stock to make them capable of being heated by clean electricity. The National Development Plan calls out about 500,000 electric vehicles by 2030. Personally, I think we've passed the tipping point for domestic vehicles. It's not just about domestic vehicles either. I know that Irish Rail are looking at electrifying or certainly taking carbon out of the rail fleet. We need to look at public transport. Potentially, I saw something from Norway recently where they're talking about short-haul aircraft hops being by electric aircraft by 2040. So I think there's a real opportunity using clean electricity as a vector for decarbonising both transport and heat. There are going to be a number of challenges to that. There are real challenges at the distribution side of the business and the distribution side of the network in terms of making sure that we've got the charging infrastructure right for a situation in the future where electric vehicles are the norm and electric heating is the norm. But I think we're going to rise. I'm confident that we're going to rise to the challenge. The third opportunity for me is really using smart meters and using smart meters to put the electricity customer at the heart of the energy transition, the transition to clean and a sustainable energy future. So I think you know this already, but smart meters will allow customers working with their supply companies to charge their EVs or their power walls or their batteries or their immersions at the best time, or to discharge the generation, their own generation, into the grid at the best time, taking into account all sorts of things from carbon intensity, the optimization of storage, the optimization of the distribution network, the optimization of the overall price. And where we used to bring power stations on to meet demand, a key part of the solution between now and 2030 is going to be trying to shift demand to meet the times when our electricity generation is at its most carbon-free and when the wind is blowing and when the sun is shining. Smart metering is also going to face challenges, we know that. We're just at the early stages of rolling out that smart metering project. We look at other jurisdictions and we're trying to learn from them, but we see a number of the challenges that they've had to face. But I'm confident that we'll get there, and I'm confident that it's going to be an absolutely essential part of providing that opportunity to customers to be part of the clean energy future. So overall, if I call out three major opportunities through to 2030, I see them as one, growing renewable generation and growing it like we've never grown it before. Secondly, electrifying transportation and heat. And thirdly, leveraging smart meters to put customers at the centre of a sustainable energy future. I think it's going to be a really exciting future. We're already moving in that direction. The challenge for us is to move further and to move faster. And I'm looking forward to working with you all as we try and make that future a reality. So thank you.